Thursday. Super dope. What's up? I'm Kyle. Thanks for checking this out. We are going to now give you the King Kong versus Godzilla, the original movie from back in the day. So I figured it would make sense for us to release this one last after the King of the Monsters pod that we released Tuesday, because in March of 2020, we will be getting King Kong versus Godzilla. And in case you have not heard the tagline, one shall fall. So I thought it'd make sense to release us talking about this original movie last in this series of Godzilla pods that we've been doing over the last couple weeks. I think we're going to try to keep doing them at least once a month here on the Super Dope feed. Brandon's all sorts of amped about it. We got to figure out which ones we're doing next and who else is jumping on board. I think maybe Dan, my buddy Scott, who did Akira with me a few months back, might be jumping in on some of these. So it'll be fun to get back to these at least once a month. And we've got plenty of them to watch between now and King Kong coming out next year. So you'll hear that in just a minute. Before we do that, I'm a dope. When we released the Tuesday episode, I totally forgot to tell you the good news. We got a new patron, a dude by the name of Brian. Now, let me try to say his last name. I'm probably going to fuck it up. It's just too many letters in it. I think it's Melchior. Melchior. It's just Brian. Brian, thanks for joining the $5 tier, man. We appreciate you. So he's getting in on the Death Note Super Dopes that we put up on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we put up the free Wednesday episodes of either OGDB or My Hero Academia. If you haven't gone to check out this week's free episode of My Hero Academia, you should, because me and Carlton were drinking, and boy, is that boy, what's the word? Eccentric? Eccentric. All right. Anyway, Brian, thanks for jumping on the Patreon, man. If you guys want to check it out, see what we've got for free over there. We've probably got like 30-ish free podcasts, and then well over, 50, 60 total. So go check it out. There's a lot to see there, or listen to there. There's a lot to listen to there. Dragon Ball, what is it? Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. All right, that's it. King Kong, Kingu Kongu. Fuck, you'll hear Brandon say Kingu Kongu like a billion times in this one. Get ready for it. Super Dope. Did you hear it reverberate in the ukulele? Ukulele? You listen to Dragon Ball Super Dope, we have all sorts of new racist names for that instrument. Last episode, went a little off the rails, but Super Dope aside.
2 seconds in, he's already off the rails.
Because I didn't want to say...
Godzilla must go into the depths to hide his shame.
So,
thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do it instead?
If you want to.
God.
I'm just kidding.
Is it time?
Click.
Did you just give her your keys so that way you won't start flicking your key when you're ready to be done?
We
He
worked
did
this
that
out.
last time too.
He does it all the time.
No.
He gave me the keys last time.
Oh, did
We
I
worked
yell
this
about?
out
Did I
in
yell
advance.
at you about it before? I
don't
know that I
maybe
have,
the
but
first
was it
time,
like?
or no? Like, I think it was just established after.
It was
that
established after
pissed
the
you
first
off.
episode that it pissed you off, so I had to give him to her.
Yep.
You do it on Super Dope all the time.
I know that.
But I'm not there, so I can't protect you.
True. I'm gonna start taking your fucking keys
You should.
and your phone.
You should probably take that too.
It's gonna be like, no, you can hold on to your phone for Pojira. Reason being, I don't know if you need to like look anything up or reference something.
Yeah, give me
I
one.
feel like
Yeah.
that's valid.
No, I do need to look up
With
one
Super
thing.
Dope though, you're just like texting the whole time, and I'm like, this
Damn.
motherfucker.
I can multitask.
Texting.
No, you can't. You're not. You're not.
I'm still clear in the episodes. I still bring the fire. Can we start now?
We already did. This is the show. I'm gonna use all this sound.
Hi, everybody.
So-
Welcome to
Pojira.
episode 3.
My name is Kyle. This is Brandon. This is Shannon.
Yo.
You can say
Yeah.
hi too, Shannon.
Sup?
Sup? Sup, y'all?
Sup?
After-
Kingu Kongu versus Godzilla. So We went a little out of order, I guess, technically. So the first two
Yes.
episodes were 54. The first Godzilla movie, 55?
55.
Godzilla Raids Again. What was it called? Gyakushu?
Gojira no Gyakushu.
Ooh, see? I'm learning stuff about things and stuff.
Where's your fucking dictionary that I made for you?
Brandon did come with some composition books today. With about
worked hard on
7
those.
or 8 handwritten pages of assorted notes and definitions. So like it's a real thing. We got the Godzilla fucking V baby.
2 copies.
Yeah, you did
copies.
both by hand. Like I would have maybe written one out by hand and then made photocopies. But damn, you're just
And I
dedicated.
attempted kanji.
Yeah, you got the kanji symbols in there. Kanji symbols is that whatever. You got the kanji in there. Looks very professional. I'm gonna have to like take over now, like my own book, right? Like you're gonna come here for every episode that we watch.
No, I'll probably take him home to fill him in.
Dude,
He's
you can't
taking it from you.
You can just take away my.
All right, if
fucking
you want to finish
dictionary.
filling it in, that's fine.
Maybe I will.
All right.
Maybe I won't.
There's okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Never mind several weeks from now. But we kind of went out of order in how we originally intended to watch these movies today. We diverged a little bit in that we did skip 2 in this, Kajuega.
Kaijuega.
We did skip 2 installments of the Kaijuega series, that being Rodan and Mothra.
Hi.
We looked for Rodan. That was kind of a pain in the ass, but we didn't feel that bad skipping over it. I think mainly just because, or I didn't feel that bad skipping over it, because it's not even a fucking Godzilla movie.
It's a tangent that will be canonized. Both Rodan and Mothra will be standalone films that will become canonized within the next 2 films that we'll watch.
Because the next 2 Godzilla films,
Will be-
this one we watched today was King Kong versus Godzilla. The next 2 that we're going to be watching, I'm not sure the order.
Mozuda Tai Gojira, Mothra vs. Godzilla, and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster.
Ooh, that's the gold one, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a mecha one of that too?
Yes, but not for another 27 years.
So this movie was cool to watch for me today, King Kong versus Godzilla, mainly because of all of the Godzilla movies I haven't seen. This is one that I actually have seen.
Nice.
Both in Japanese and in English when I was much younger. This one, I think maybe the Mothra movie, because I remember those 2 little twin fairy things that are part of his
Shojin.
summoning or whatever, and like maybe 2 or 3 other ones. But
Shannon, was this the first time you've seen King Kong versus Godzilla?
Yep, this is the first time I've seen any of these movies. So
Fair
far,
enough.
all of them.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
which is good for the overall dynamic of what we're doing, because Brandon's seen them all a billion effing times.
Yeah.
I've seen a handful of them, maybe once or twice,
yeah.
probably 20 years ago.
In terms
And
of the
Shannon's a true blank slate here, so that's good for us to have in terms of contrast of overall impressions of these movies, because we have a tendency to romanticize things that we grow up with. Let's be real.
I mean, in terms of the Showa series, the least that I've seen, or the ones I've seen the least, are going to be Ibira, Horror of the Sea, and Son of Godzilla, just because they are cringeworthy. However,
That's where I'm at, though. Cringeworthy is what I want to see.
We'll
We
get
started
there.
to work toward that a
Yeah,
little bit in
yeah.
this movie today.
This one, King Kong versus Godzilla, Kingu Kongu Tai Gojira, does hold a little special place in my heart as a young lad of 3 many years ago. This was the very first Kaijuega, first Gojira series film that I got to see. I remember very fondly going to the Suncoast Videos in Torrance, California, at the mall there, and finding this on VHS, a powder blue cover with Godzilla and King Kong fighting over the hill while the evacuees are running away. And I was very taken by it.
Sunset.
Suncoast Videos.
Suncoast.
Yeah, it was a popular.
Oh, no. They
Popular
had
video
them
chain,
on
yeah.
the East Coast, too. That's
Yep,
where I bought all
yep.
my anime in the fucking
Right,
mid-90s.
right. Soon
the
after I bought my very first Godzilla toy, which was the 80s Godzilla toy that you would find in a Toys R Us.
What, like a Shogun Warrior style thing? Or
No, not the Shogun Warrior. I forgot
that was-
who.
that
Maybe
was mine.
I don't think it was Bullmark. Somebody can help me out when we air this, which it was. But it's very popular. And then the first real Bandai, who made the official Godzilla toys, the first Bandai toy I got was Anguirus. So hopefully when I get home tonight, my Anguirus T-shirt came in. I finally broke down and bought it.
I was hoping you were gonna wear that.
I bought it. It hasn't come in yet. But you know that's why Anguirus holds a special place in my heart. And but yeah, this was the first Godzilla film that I enjoyed as a youth. I've always hated King Kong.
A youth.
So many moons ago.
Many fortnights. Is that the fucking phrase?
Fortnights?
What's fortnight mean, Brandon?
Yes, you're on the right
Yes.
track.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it means, yes.
Many summers ago. I won't elaborate how many summers ago, but
I'll guess 8. 8 summers ago.
multiplied by a
80.
few
By a few. That's 24 years ago.
and add a few more than that.
Fuck off, Brandon. Can you just give me a year, please?
I was 3 and I'm now.
You're going to be... You just turned 32. 31. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah,
A week
so-
ago.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Brandon.
Hey, thanks.
Happy birthday.
So,
So what happened many summers ago? You're going to fucking not tell us a story about
I
it?
told you I got this movie. This was the first Godzilla
that was
movie.
the story.
That was the
Yeah.
story. The
Typically,
whole
when
thing.
people tell stories, they give the time frame first. I guess you did.
Many
Yeah.
moons ago.
Many moons ago.
So I'd say before we get into the detailed story behind the movie, and my cute little anecdotes, what are your reactions? How do you feel? What did you think of the movie?
It's cool to see Godzilla in color. I think this is the first Godzilla movie
Cool.
that they had in color. I think
Yes.
in terms of a foe, I don't know. I didn't really like the Godzilla and Anguirus thing, and I realize that that's one of your favorites. But like in terms of a giant upright walking lizard versus this four-legged quadruped. Thanks, dude. With some fucking spikes on his back. The matchup doesn't really work there for me, and I think that they also thought that because they needed to get another huge upright monster for them to
Another
fight.
Daikaiju, yeah.
Which you take you take King Kong and blow him up, because we were saying it as we watched it. King Kong in the original movie in the 1930s,
1933.
1933. That King Kong is tops like 25 feet.
He changes throughout the movie, but it's somewhere between I think 15 and 25 feet. Yeah.
So this also, in that regard, is kind of an awkward matchup until you go ahead and not only blow him up, 4-5 times what he's supposed to actually be in terms of height.
Yeah.
But toward the end there, all of a sudden, homeboy can absorb electricity, and
Yeah.
he's shocking the shit out of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I don't know. In terms of the movie itself, I think it was entertaining. I think I might have actually liked it more than Godzilla Raids Again. And I think that because both movies kind of end anticlimactically, but the fights and the choreography for this in this movie were fucking awesome. Jim,
Yeah.
what do you got? What do you think?
I definitely also think that it was really cool to see this in color because it is the first one that we're seeing. So that was very interesting. I did feel like it was really anticlimactic though. Just the ending, I was kind of like,
It's like, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay. But the fight scenes were awesome. And all the
Choreography
close-ups and
between the
everything.
two guys in the suits
Yeah.
was really, it got creative. This was like the first time where it wasn't just like straight up push, shove, knock a building down, bite Anguirus' throat out. It was,
I'm gonna grab his tail and
Yeah.
he's gonna whip him around and stuff.
it was like,
interesting.
I mean, I realized that, Power Rangers is obviously very derivative of this when they have those Megazord fights, but it was watching like a fucking 90s Megazord fight.
Yeah.
Big ass Rita Repulsa, Goldar going at it with a fully formed Megazord.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Did you not fuck with Power Rangers when you were a kid?
I did the Power Rangers for a bit. Yeah.
For a bit.
I did not.
Come on. Well,
Sorry.
by the time you were old enough to be into Power Rangers, it had already evolved so much from the first series.
Yeah.
Not that you're super young, but like the 3 years in between is just enough to.
Damn, he just called me the
God
baby.
damn it, Shannon. I didn't mean it like that. My point
I'm
is,
the baby. Whatever.
when I was 5, that shit premiered on TV. It was very easy for me to get into.
You were what, like -2?
You were, I think, maybe 2. So you didn't get into it the same way I did at 5. So even though it's only a 3-year difference there, in terms of the impact on somebody growing up,
Right.
it's probably not as present with you as it was with me. And Brandon, you also fucked with the Power Rangers. Not like ironically.
Yeah, I was about 7 when the first Power Ranger series came out. Yeah. I mean, the benefit with this movie is, special effects creator E.G. Tsuburaya was very, very excited to bring to life one of his personal favorites.
In King Kong.
King Kong.
Because King Kong was a big reason as
It
to
was a
why.
huge reason and such a huge inspiration on, tokusatsu special effects films, Kaiju Eiga. So for his opportunity to actually make a King Kong movie is like a dream come true. So he gave, the 2 Suitmation actors, Haruo Nakajima, who portrays Godzilla for the 3rd time,
Yep.
and Soichi Hirose, who portrays King Kong, kind of a more free reign to choreograph their fights, allows, as Shannon's saying, a lot more entertaining as a fight and a lot more kind of, realistic in terms of, kind of.
It's like less animalistic qualities in this movie. I feel.
Yeah, and honestly too, in backstory, wrestling is just starting to get popular in Japan.
That makes sense.
So that's very much following the kind of
What was
trend.
going on in terms of the entertainment and
Yeah,
what was resonating
yeah,
with the
and
audiences.
and as we get into it, there's going to be a lot more backstory behind that too.
You mean how wrestling influences the Godzilla movies? Or?
No, how everything influences this Godzilla movie.
That's what's up. That's why I really like the idea of this podcast, especially with your background in just general history of the world. You've got a pretty good understanding of, all right, this is the movie, and you can break it down and talk about the producers, and you can talk about how it was filmed and how it was written and how it was directed, whatever. But you can also relate back to, this is what was going on in Japan at the time.
Yeah.
This is why this element, this piece, this scene.
The very kind of first, I guess, introduction to this whole movie is the original creator of King Kong, Willis O'Brien, is trying to find a new vehicle to reignite the King Kong franchise.
So does he seek out the Godzilla people?
Not yet. So King Kong is popular in 1933. And almost parallel to what we explained the last podcast, how Godzilla is so popular they rush a sequel out. In 1933, they rushed a sequel out to King Kong, the Son of Kong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And he's like this albino ape. He's smaller. It's cute.
Probably the same kind of idea, though. We just had a hit in our hands with King Kong in 33.
Bingo.
We got to capitalize right fucking
So
now.
they make that. And that's definitely not as popular. And King Kong kind of goes away for about 29 years. Willis O'Brien's like, hey, King Kong's still a viable option. So his initial idea is to have King Kong fight a new creature of a similar size. And initially, I think it's the Frankenstein monster.
Ooh,
And so it's a crossover between King Kong and Frankenstein.
that's fucking lame. I want it to be another animal.
And that kind of goes on for a little bit, and that's an idea. Eventually, Frankenstein evolves into Prometheus, and, it's a similar kind of vehicle. So he takes this to an American producer by the name of John Beck.
What up, John?
And John Beck's like, yeah, it's a great idea. We'll shop it around. I guess it doesn't have a great foothold in America. It doesn't really kick off as a great idea. If you think about it, most of the monster movies in America at the time aren't really popular.
Well, I was going to say, what kind of time period are we talking about? Are we talking about late 40s?
It's like 60. This is like 61, 62.
Okay, so well after. This is well after the 29-year hiatus that King Kong takes.
And this is after all of like the 50s movies like Them and Tarantula.
Fucking Black Lagoon and
Creature
whatever.
from Black Lagoon. Yeah. And seemingly, I guess if you think about profits, some of the most popular monster films are not American made. They're Godzilla. Godzilla raids again, which at the time is considered Gigantus the fire monster. Rodan is popular. Rodan's very popular at the time when it's released. In the
States, huh?
In the States, yeah. So John Beck ultimately goes to Toho, who are like, well, 62, that's our 30th anniversary. We should make a really big film. And at the time, you know, Rodan was popular, Mothra was popular. Another tokusatsu is the Mysterians, The War in Space, The Last War. They're like, oh man, you know what would be really cool if we brought Godzilla back for the big 30th anniversary.
Because Godzilla fucking rules.
Right? He's been gone for 7 years by this point because Gojira no Gyakushu wasn't as popular as the original Gojira.
That makes sense. The ending sucked.
Damn.
I've made Brandon completely question how he feels about that movie as a whole. We watched it. We started the movie. Brandon's like, yeah, man, Raids Again's probably my favorite one. And I got through it and I'm like, yo, that movie fucking sucked, huh?
It did.
I'm sorry, Brandon. Sorry to cut you off.
Anyway, Toho sees a brilliant opportunity to bring back the Godzilla franchise by fighting quite possibly the most popular monster of all time.
Who also, coincidentally, hasn't been in a movie in 30 years.
Yeah.
So this is a big opportunity.
So they manipulate the story and purchase the rights to Kingu Kongu and will pit him against their own foe, Godzilla.
So Toho says, we'll make one, but we're fucking making it.
Bingo. So kind of problem number one for Toho is I forget how much the rights to King Kong cost.
A buttload.
But it's enough to mess up their whole filming schedule. They plan on filming most of the island and native scenes and fight scenes.
Why does it do that? Does it take away from like their budget?
Yeah. So they have a set budget
film.
For everything. But the price to purchase the rights to King Kong will be so expensive that it will cut into other departments of the budget.
But if Beck goes to them with this idea, don't you think there'd be some kind of hookup in terms of the fee that's associated with? Like he came to them
He's
looking
just
to
selling
get the
idea. He doesn't have the rights. He's just selling the idea.
Oh,
They still have to purchase the rights, I think, at this time from Universal. So that cuts into their filming budget. They're going to film in Indonesia, and they can't. So they just go and film in Japan, and I believe on an island. Yeah.
By the way, we talked about it during the film.
Yeah.
Creative solution, right?
They just basically paint the Japanese.
Exactly. Japanese blackface.
Essentially.
That's fucking strange to see. That was weird. Had you not said anything, I would have caught it, right? It's not.
No, you definitely.
It's not unnoticed.
You could tell that was the worst tanning booth experience. Those 100 actors and actresses.
Because it wasn't a tanning booth. It was just a can of like brown paint. Like talk about fucking weird. And not only the fact that they're painted brown like that,
and then they give the little kids cigarettes.
Yeah, like first of all, the Japanese show up to this island basically with the idea of we want to go track down King Kong and make him the sponsor for this advertisement for this show that we do. With your boy, your favorite character, Taco. Mr. Taco.
All right, so the synthesis behind Mr. Taco is the director of the film, Ishiro Honda, and the producer, Tomoyuki Tanaka, begin noticing that Japanese TV in the early 1960s is getting, like, whacked the fuck out. Like, they're going to extremes.
That hasn't always been the case in Japan.
Right? We think of today, we think of, like, how crazy, like, Japanese TV is. But, like, I think, Shannon, you were talking about, like, some of those TV shows they have. Like what is it? Like, where you, like, do really stupid shit. Like
Most Extreme Challenge.
Yeah.
Got MXC. Mr. Taco, at a certain point, is dressed up like one of the guys. I wish I fucking knew. I wish I looked it up. Because I can't think of what it is. So basically what's going on is TV in Japan is getting outrageous. So here's a quote. I apologize that I'm using a Godzilla wiki site, but in April of 1962, TV networks and their various sponsors started producing outrageous programming and publicity stunts to grab audience attention after two elderly viewers reportedly died at home while watching a violent wrestling match on TV.
So basically, the whole premise of this film is a satirization of what's going on in Japanese television. That producers, sponsors, and other affiliates are going way out of their way to boost ratings. So we see this crazy idea of that the marketing company or marketing division of a pharmaceutical company, which is sponsoring TV shows, receives these mysterious berries with healing powers and
Soma
sleeping
berries.
powers. Soma berries.
I gotta get me some.
Right? Mr. Taco goes, well, what else is on the island? Shit, there's a god on the island.
Natives and King Kong.
And a monster, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would really boost our ratings?
King Kong, motherfucker.
King Kong. At the same time, the producers at Toho are saying, that's cute and that's great, but we really need to make this series more profitable. Maybe we should chill out with like the seriousness of atomic radiation.
Let's embrace how corny and campy these things can become.
Not yet. Let's broaden our audience so that maybe children would enjoy this as well.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
the first two movies are not very children
especially
friendly.
the first one.
That's some traumatic shit. That's a legitimate social commentary.
I mean, we all kind of watched the first one in horror, as, all of these people are getting, radiated to death. They're getting burned to death. They're getting crushed. There's the family waiting to return to their father.
And that's a huge entire part of the storyline.
Yeah.
As where in the movie we watched today, I think they really only make reference to the Godzilla being born out of radiation one time.
Once.
And they make a differentiation. Just so we're all on the same page, King Kong is a massive animal.
Yeah.
And, Godzilla is not an animal. He was born out of radiation. That's the only call they have to it.
Exactly. So you don't see the seriousness of atomic destruction, but you see the seriousness of this is how crazy Japanese TV is getting. It's getting silly. So there's a serious point to the movie, but not in the way that we respect it and honor it.
What is the serious point to the movie? I mean, because
this is how crazy Japanese TV is getting. There is a bit of a dispute amongst the producers and Eiji Tsuburaya, Tomoyuki Tanaka, Ishiro Honda over the direction. I think Honda is a little bit upset that this
the seriousness
series
has been taken away
this
from
series is now getting in the end his gamble is wrong because with the product of inflation, as far as I'm aware, King Kong versus Godzilla is still considered the highest grossing Godzilla film ever made.
So even though he was wrong in, making it a little bit more, more appealing to a broader general audience, it still brought a huge amount of commercial success.
Well, his gamble was that it's no longer serious.
And he wasn't sure if that was a good call or not?
I think he was upset that it was being taken away as this is no longer serious. This is now.
So he didn't make a gamble. I mean, somebody basically told him this is the route that we're going.
Gamble's the wrong word. His protest was that it was no longer serious.
And he was wrong.
And he was wrong. Well, he was right that it's no longer serious. He was just wrong in
terms of the audience reception of that.
Exactly. And I mean, he's so wrong, in fact, that this will reignite the Godzilla series, launching another
27 films ish,
depending on how you want to break it up. Yeah,
that's a lot of goddamn movies.
Yeah, I mean, we think of the impact of Godzilla as a cultural icon. The second movie technically should have ended the Godzilla series, but they were invested or interested enough to bring Godzilla back. The gamble pays off. So much, in fact, that almost immediately they begin writing the script to a sequel, which will be called Continuation King Kong versus Godzilla.
But
eventually that will not materialize.
Yeah.
And we'll see the origins of crossovers. So everybody jokes about how the greatest crossover of all time is Avengers Infinity War or whatever.
It's going to be dope.
But the first...
It is going to be cool.
One of the greatest crossovers will be Godzilla, Mozura Tai Gojira, in which a standalone film of Mothra
Okay.
will now tangent into the franchise that is now known as Godzilla.
So that would be picking up off of the Mothra solo movie and how
Yeah.
he then meets up with God.
Correct.
Meets up, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah.
But how he comes into the Godzilla canon, that world. And,
He'll become canonized.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, I guess, Dragon Ball making Lord Beerus canon.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that example, but
Fair
I
enough.
got you. I got you, dog.
All right. So here's a fun story for Shannon,
I love stories.
because Shannon, go ahead and if you want to relay your feelings about the octopus scene.
Oh my God.
Absolutely horrifying.
So
Just
that's
the
like the-
visuals and the sounds and everything all together. It was absolutely horrifying.
It was
Just,
so
like,
weird.
scarring.
It was just so audible the whole time. It's just like, I don't even want to try and make the noise because I'd be embarrassed.
Ugh,
I kind of want to hear you make the noise.
don't do it.
No, that was a fart. Nope, it's not working.
All right. So
But that also happened so far before like all the fights with King Kong and everything that it seems like it was almost a different movie
yeah.
to me. I don't know. It just
Yeah,
feels
I mean, it's different in
forever
that
ago.
Godzilla is not in any way involved in that scene, really. King Kong realizes this giant fucking octopus is now raiding his island where he's considered a god.
Faroe Island.
And even though he's behind these gates, he's like, I don't like the looks of that octopus, and just breaks through these gates. Like, what were the gates supposed to do?
Keep him kind of away ish.
I don't know, but
Little
he
bit.
beat the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
But it is like a different part of the. I mean,
No, it's very much. There's two halves to the movie. There's the development of showing King Kong and Godzilla, and then when
Which I like how they do too.
Yeah.
Because in the first half of the first quarter of the movie, they go back and forth between what's going on with Mr. Taco at the pharmaceutical
Pharmaceutical company,
agency, and then they go back to the Marines, or are they Marines? I don't know.
submarine.
The submarine.
below.
The mission, the kind of, and it's kind of I really like how the movie starts, just
Yeah.
because it's literally a mashing of these two crazy worlds in
Yeah.
Godzilla and King Kong. They give you the Japanese side of it, and it's like more in line with a typical Godzilla movie and how they line up what the characters are going to be to try to push along the narrative of this, hour and a half long thing. But they also do a cool job with the whole introduction of King Kong. And just kind of seeing the American side of it and seeing full scenes in English, and you see the subtitles on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
It literally brings these two worlds together before you even see the monsters on the screen, which I really liked and appreciated.
Yeah. And then the second half of the movie is when they both
Finally meet up,
when they both arrive in Japan. Yeah.
and they have that one quick fight
Yeah.
where King Kong throws some rocks at Godzilla. Godzilla lights some shit on fire with his atomic breath, and they just both kind of just let each other go. Very anticlimactic.
So the story is, Shannon, in the filming of the octopus scenes, they utilized real octopi for a very natural appearance,
And sound.
and so
Ew.
they actually captured and used 4 octopi to film those scenes, and to agitate them and to get to the move, they would blow blow dryers on them, hot blow dryers to get
That's
them
like
to move.
animal,
animal
cruelty.
cruelty.
That's messed
But
up.
yo, it was 62, man. They didn't give a shit.
Shannon,
What?
I'm not done yet.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
the story gets worse.
Oh, geez.
So at the end of the filming,
Oh God.
3
they
of
eat
the
them?
octopi are released.
Uh-oh.
The 4th becomes Tsuburaya's dinner.
Oh, he actually killed and ate one of the octopuses.
He ate one of the actors.
That's messed up.
One of the animal actors. Granted,
So then,
but that's
so
just
then,
taking the abuse claim to a
then
new
they
level.
had to utilize
Playing with your
close-up
food and then
scenes.
killing it.
So when, for example, when the octopus jumps on Kong's head, I said, "Watch this." That is a puppet scene, and they covered the puppet in Saran wrap or cellophane to give it a more mucousy, slimy appearance.
And man, did they succeed.
Ugh.
Yeah, the appearance of that giant octopus is disgusting.
But the octopus scenes are so popular, especially when he's fighting the natives, that when they were filming the Pirates of the Caribbean series, the special effects crew that created the Kraken were instructed to watch those scenes for inspiration.
Huh.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the guy in the King Kong suit was actually wrestling with a real fucking
Soichi
octopus.
Hiro's. No, he's fighting a puppet.
Oh,
The
man.
They put the
scenes
two
where like the
together.
octopus like goes over
That's
the
all
little
live
house.
stuff. It
Those
would have
are
been a
live.
lot cooler if they just had him wrestle a real octopus. I'd have been down
That
with
would be like, it would have to be enormous. It would have to be really
How big is a real octopus? I mean, we're talking about a man who's, what, between 5 and 6 feet tops?
I feel like octopus are octopi.
Octopuses.
I think that octopi are pretty small for the most part. I mean, you get your like giant squids and stuff like that, but that's not like octopi.
I would have just went out and caught 4 giant squids because I would have been committed to my vision.
But those are very different.
Just
from
kidding,
the,
Brandon.
the
You should
octopi.
see. You have like a little vein popping in your head. You look so mad at me.
It's okay, Brandon.
Anyway, the squid scene,
"No more."
will be so popular with an American producer named Harry Saperstein that when he enters a partnership with Toho to produce monster movies and that will be used for American release, he will specifically request that there will be 2 more octopi scenes into the movies. One will ultimately be scrapped, which will be the cut scene from Frankenstein versus Baragon, or as the English translation.
So this guy just liked the octopus scene so much
That he was like,
all of a sudden
include
he
this in your
goes
next
out
2
and
movies.
He's like, I have to have octopus scenes in my next movies.
Yeah. So
That's suspicious as
Frankenstein.
hell.
He's
to
got a
me.
fetish.
Thank you. You said it
Sorry.
for me. This guy
Sorry.
like the
He's got
fucked
like a-
octopuses on the side.
Yeah, the tentacle.
Sorry to
porn.
ruin your boy Saperstein's credibility here, but octopi fucker.
Tentacle
Continue.
stuff.
The original hentai. Carry on.
He's got a thing for it.
What do you think burnt squid smells like?
Ew, probably gross.
I feel like we could actually
Is it better or
figure that
worse
one
than
out,
that
though.
tuna factory?
I'm saying.
I feel like the tuna factory is probably worse.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just all that fish and everything. I don't know. Octopi.
Octopuses. So Saperstein's a real weirdo, huh?
Yeah, he is. He can't even. Brandon can't even respond. He's so in shock over what we were just talking about. He had never. He hadn't thought of it like that before, so his
Anyway.
mind is blown.
Sorry.
I'm not going to tell you guys any stories for the next movie because
I want to hear all the
the
stories.
next one really means
The
a lot
stories are
to
the
me, and I
best.
really just god.
What's the next movie we're gonna watch?
Mozuda Taigojira, Godzilla vs. Mothra.
Oh, that's the one with the crazy Wonder
The
Twins, right?
soundtrack's amazing.
Wonder Twins.
The twin fairies are in it. My favorite suit, Mozu Goji, as I have explained. But getting back to, I guess, suits.
We fucked up Brandon's whole game plan.
in the lore of
You can't
good.
talk anymore.
No, you're all good. You guys are
Sorry,
great.
Brandon.
I love you guys. You guys are great. In the lore of what?
Not that I'm good.
Oh
In the lore of the
What the heck's going on over there? Your phone's blowing up.
I know, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
In the lore of the Gojira suits, the Kingu Goji suit, as we saw, Kingu Goji is considered probably the most popular suit amongst fans. There are definitely some changes made between Gyakushu Goji and Kingu Goji, in which Godzilla no longer has ears. His dorsal fins, which Shannon was in admiration of, are a lot more rounded. They're no longer as
super jagged.
Yeah, jagged and kind of violent.
Plus, you get to see the color when it lights up, which
the
no
atomic
fault of
radiation.
the first two movies, but
the atomic radiation ignites through his dorsal
it looks
fins.
awesome.
One of the other strange things is his feet have been reduced from 4 toes to 3 toes.
Which is just weird.
It's very weird. I'm not sure what they're,
per foot,
you know,
in an ice a glacier.
And also his bulk is kind of enlarged again, and his face isn't so kind of violent and frightening. He's a little bit more, you know, I guess subdued.
He looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah,
like a friendly dinosaur.
A fun dinosaur.
Looks like a dinosaur.
That
might rip your face off.
And he claps when he's excited. So there's
some of that camp.
That was weird.
There's definitely a reduction
in
in menace and you know.
There's definitely a very evident appeal.
Yeah,
to get the kids on board.
Exactly.
This is a marketing bonanza for us. This
you know,
is a merchandise bonanza.
Like one of the I guess frustrations that you had is, unlike the previous film, Godzilla doesn't use his atomic breath directly on Kong. It's more in front.
I was Godzilla, I would use my atomic breath right out the gate every goddamn time.
Yeah.
On everything.
No excuses.
Yeah.
King Kong versus Godzilla, if I was Godzilla, would have lasted 30 seconds.
And besides the rampage of Kong in Tokyo, there's not much, you know, destruction in comparison to the last two films.
There really isn't, because the first time they meet up, that's when King Kong and Godzilla accidentally fall into that Godzilla falls into that hole in the ground.
Yeah, and they meet in a field.
And then the second time, they literally drop King Kong. The idea is to string up 1 billion balloons to King Kong and fly him over until they see Godzilla and drop King Kong on top of them, and hopefully they will battle to the death.
You know, that scene was an inspiration too.
What's that? Up?
99 Luftballons.
Nuh-uh. Prove it.
I like that song.
In German or in English still?
German.
Me too.
Wow.
The German one, I have both on my phone though. But the German one's really good.
Because the only English words.
99 Luftballons gone by.
Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk is the only.
That is in there.
You know what my favorite German song is? Rock Me Amadeus.
Not a bad call.
Falco's the shit. And he's named after the best character in Star Fox.
Never played Star Fox. Yeah. Can we not be friends now?
No, I didn't either. But I still like Falco because he was cool in Super Smash Brothers. He was pretty badass.
Oh,
all right,
yeah.
see,
that's true.
Okay,
it is.
All right,
yeah, it is true.
All right,
He's
played
pretty,
him in Smash. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's badass in Smash Brothers.
Man, was I about to flip out on you?
I mean, he's not as good as my best character, Young Link, but you know.
Young Link.
Yeah, Young Link was the shit.
They have 2 different Links now?
Oh, dude.
No, there's tons of them.
Yeah, there's Young Link, there's Toon Link, there's Link.
There's
Anyway.
Yeah. So many.
Can I be Pikachu?
Yeah.
Can I be Goku yet?
No. That would be so fucking badass.
There's a petition going on online to get Goku on Super Smash Brothers.
He's what?
He's trying to get Super Dope into it.
No, I'm not.
Super.
I brought up Super Dope in the first 30 seconds we put the mics on today. I just think about Dragon Ball a lot. You see this fucking wall?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
So as we progress into the Godzilla series, we are definitely going to see a changing trend in which Godzilla will slowly develop into, will transition from a villain into an anti-hero and ultimately into a hero. The design is to keep pushing out these movies to a broad audience, you know, and develop a following that is popular. So much so that eventually, you know, Tsuburaya will develop things like Ultra Q, Ultraman, and eventually make his own King Kong movie in '66.
Oh, cool.
King Kong Escapes.
Huh.
Which actually has one of my other favorite kaiju, Daikaiju, Gorosaurus, who is badass in one of the upcoming films we see.
Huh.
Yeah.
So there's another King Kong movie made by Tsuburaya.
Yeah.
Doesn't involve Godzilla, obviously.
No, it's a standalone film called King Kong Escapes.
That's interesting. Do we have that one to watch or no? Probably.
I'll bring it over, yeah.
You got it? Word.
I believe it's only in English, but that's fine.
That's fine.
That's
I
can make it
want,
work.
like,
that?
We can make it work.
as these movies go on, the campier, like we said, it's not to the point where it's campy and corny bad now.
Well,
But you see them try to broaden, the appeal to more general audiences.
and
As the series goes on and gets a little bit more ridiculous, I think I'd almost rather watch them in English.
yeah. Well, and also
Or we could do both. I mean, whatever.
also too, one of the developments that as I didn't watch it from a comprehensive view in the past, the characters in this film are forgettable.
Except
Fumiko,
That's true.
Serizawa-san!
but he's not even.
I know he's not in
I
it, but the
believe-
actor is.
I believe I caught his name at the end of Shinagawa.
Shinagawa. He's in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
But the scenes that he is in, he's generally just giving comments to the press
He's
about
giving
the whole
scientific
updates.
commentary as, the government's not going to use
It's
nuclear
like,
weapons.
hey, what if Serizawa lived and had both eyes and dressed really nice and was successful and talked to the press?
Well, later on, we'll see him as a villain. That's pretty fun, too.
Wait, he comes back again for a
Whoa.
third movie?
He's in charge of the Red Bamboo in
Bamboo.
Big Duel in the South Seas.
charge of the Red Bamboo? Never heard of that.
It's going to be
In
fun.
the did you say the big bad seas?
Big Duel in the South
Big-
Seas.
That
got
one
that
I've
totally
heard
wrong.
of. But what was it? The Red Charge of the Bamboo?
The Red Bamboo. It's a private army that we'll see.
Are they trying to fuck up Godzilla? Oh ho ho! We've seen this story before. Man stands little to no chance against Godzilla.
Well, they got some weapons on their sleeves.
Unless, of course, and that was one of the effective ways they used to deal with Godzilla today was they put up a million volts of the electricity, the electric wire around the city of Tokyo. Walks up, touches it, fucks him up worse than he'd expected. Doesn't want to do that anymore. As where King Kong just
Almost
walks up and
enjoyed it.
yeah,
Just-
he ate it.
Yeah.
That's where I got a little confused because
Kinky.
is it? That's where I got a little bit confused about it, just because, like you said, the idea of trying to match up King Kong and Godzilla on paper before you watch this movie, it's like, how do they stack up? You got to make King Kong bigger. How does he stack up against the atomic breath? Well, he doesn't. So now he can eat electricity.
Would you say that his ability to eat electricity was for shock value?
God damn it, Brandon.
That was kind of a good one. Kind of. A little bit.
I guess. Like, it was appropriately timed for sure. But
It was.
Jeez.
Personally, I felt those scenes were electrifying.
No.
This is where you're firmly wrong.
That giggle though.
But what the hell goes into that thought process?
I totally just want to say a Jim Halpert line right now.
Which one?
You always left me feeling satisfied.
That's what she said. So what brings on that? I mean, obviously you have to have the character stack up to be able to have it be an interesting fight. But
Yeah.
what makes them say, "All right, now Kong can eat electricity"? Do you have any background on that, or was it? Do you think it was just a complete
Unfortunately,
ass pull?
I don't, as far as I'm aware. Perhaps once we broadcast, some listeners can chime in. As far as I know, I think it was just used as a method to even the match between Godzilla and Kong. You know, going into this, you already have Godzilla's, indestructibility. You have his ability to emit nuclear radiation through his atomic breath. Kong can climb buildings and fall off them,
and pick up ladies and not crush them.
Yeah, as a physical animal, as you mentioned earlier, he doesn't have any extra abilities. We don't really see a lot of that for quite some time. It won't be until at least, with the exception of a very weird scene in Rodan where Rodan has a mysterious atomic breath for a second. We don't really see any extra powers develop. Mothra will omit something that I don't want to get into. So
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's a bummer that we weren't able to watch Rodan and Mothra first, but we're either of those
but with
two,
the original Mothra film,
were either of those two born out of radiation? Is my question. Probably not, right? There's got to be some different backstory.
Mothra will be I guess you could say, legendary deity or god on her own island, Infant Island.
Been there.
On her?
Mothra is female, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Rodan will be, I guess, just entombed in Mount Aso until earthquakes, I believe, will allow for the eggs to hatch.
Shit. Earthquakes, man.
I mean,
scary for a few different reasons.
I mean, do you want me to go into the details of Rodan
More natural
and reveal things? Or?
Nah. I mean, let me ask you this: when we do watch Godzilla versus Rodan,
yeah, there's no Godzilla versus. Well, there's no film titled Godzilla versus Rodan.
What's it called?
Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
So there's three different kaijus in that one. Four, if is Mothra the fourth one. So what's the American title of that one? Isn't like Monster Island or some shit like that?
Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
That's it? What am I thinking of?
Godzilla on Monster Island, that will be Godzilla versus Gigan.
And I don't know which one Gigan is.
So, I mean, do you want me to give the backstory to Rodan?
Let's do it.
All right.
Educate me.
So when we watch Rodan, there will be terrible mining accidents inside Mount Aso, and several miners will be found mutilated.
That's also sad.
It turns out that they will be mutilated by these dragonfly larvae called meganulons.
Meganulons.
Eventually, the story progresses that inside further in the mines, that there are two large eggs. No, there's one large egg, excuse me, and it will hatch to develop a baby Rodan, who will feast upon the meganulons as a snack and grow. Eventually, after the Rodan is of full size, it will begin flying around the world and destroying things. Cattle will disappear, humans will disappear.
Wow.
And it turns out to be the Rodan. As Rodan attacks, I don't have the notebook in front of me.
What is a Rodan? Sorry, am I like really stupid? I don't know what he is.
Sorry, no. That's my fault. A Rodan is essentially a larger version of a pteranodon.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Sorry,
I got it.
So as
do you really though? Because what the fuck's a pteranodon?
It's like a different version of a pterodactyl.
Yeah, they're.
So let me see. No, those are later ones. Those aren't Shodai.
What do you want from me?
This is Shodai Rodan attacking Fukuoka.
Okay.
As Rodan's attacking Fukuoka, it turns out Rodan's not the only one. There's two of them.
There's two Rodans?
There's two of them. One gets injured in the attack. And they both return to Mount Aso. Eventually, they're caught in a volcano and they die. But
somebody gets dropped in a volcano finally.
Yeah. We can watch that scene. It's really quick.
Man.
Anyway.
I really thought that's the route they were going to go. They were just going to tie up balloons to King Kong and drop him into Mount Fuji. Because Mount Fuji is a volcano, right?
Can I have my phone, please?
No.
I'll bring up the scene.
No.
Can I have your phone? Anyway. When we get to Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, we will find out that at least one of the Rodans survives the attack on Mount Aso. Yeah. And this scene was an accident, I believe, where the second Rodan tries to fly away for a second and it gets sucked back into the flames. That was partially an accident, but it was like just so great that they decided to keep it.
So sad.
So just to kind of catch up, because, obviously the video we just watched doesn't exactly lend itself to the audio-based podcast.
Yeah.
We just watched the end scene from the Rodan movie. So not only is there one Rodan, there's two, but you see that they defeat the first Rodan. Do they drop him into that volcano in that lava?
I believe, if I remember correctly, the first one is in the cavern already, and as it tries to escape, it gets caught in the lava.
So
They basically launch an attack to force the Mount Aso to erupt.
Damn.
Yeah.
So my idea about dropping King Kong into a volcano,
I would have loved that.
you would have loved it because you wouldn't have had to sit through the rest of that movie. And
What if
then
they did
King
that to
Kong again
Godzilla
in
too?
66. That's what I thought they were going to do. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to scoop up Godzilla and drop him into a volcano? And then, no, that wasn't the plan. I was just, not accurately predicting what was going to happen.
Give me a handful of movies and you'll see my reaction to it.
What do you mean? No, just tell me what you mean.
Can you explain?
I have to show you a picture.
No.
I don't know.
It'll happen.
Oh, somebody will get dropped into a volcano.
Godzilla will.
Oh, no. Are you going to cry? Me too. I'll cry with you.
I probably won't cry.
There's
I'm
like
not a
several.
pussy.
There's like
Cold, Shannon.
I actually found a video clip of like several different versions of it happening, and I'm just like, this sucks.
Wow.
I'm like, this sucks
That's
in the worst way.
aggressive.
Masochist.
It's
Jesus.
so sad.
He
Well-
likes it.
No, I don't. It's just
You do.
Ultimately,
Don't make me play it.
ultimately, the end of this movie doesn't result in that. They just get dropped on one another, have another, all out brawl. It's really fun. It's really cool. It's very cool, choreography to it. However, it doesn't really reach really all that much of a conclusion. Like, you see King Kong swim away. And this
Yeah.
is one of the common misconceptions about the film.
Very
is
much,
that-
yes.
Is that people thought that there were two different endings to the movie.
Correct.
One with Japanese, Godzilla wins, which is not what we just saw.
Yeah.
And then the American one where King Kong wins. And I think a lot of it probably has to do with how the script was adapted in that last scene of seeing King Kong swim back away toward the South Seas. Or
Correct. And especially after years and years of speculation, Toho has officially said that Kong is the winner.
He is the winner. Toho came out and confirmed.
There is no speculation.
There-
There's no differentiating versions. Japanese, German, English, French. Kong is the winner of this film.
What the fuck?
I know.
Think that was part of the licensing agreement?
Technically,
That would be interesting.
I don't think it's so much the licensing, but technically Kong is still considered. This is only Godzilla's third movie.
Yep.
Kong's been around 30 years, like you said. Kong is still very clearly the fan favorite amongst anybody.
Even though it's a Japanese movie versus an American icon.
But literally 20 years before the first Japanese movie, there was King Kong.
Oh, I get it. In terms of the test of time,
Yeah.
Kong has
So
been
Kong
around
is
for
still-
so much longer.
Kong is still
but
well
given that it
more-
was made by Toho, you would think that'd be another way. Because,
They were-
especially in the first movie,
They were so pleased to
they
have...
shit on Americans so much for dropping the bomb in the first movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's
Yeah.
a huge fucking plot point there.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Toho take the opportunity with them having the licensing for King Kong, being
I
able to
think
use him
that's
as
a
a
great
character,
idea.
to
Yeah.
say, yeah, even if it's not Godzilla winning and it is ultimately a draw, why? Why wouldn't they take that opportunity to? It just drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, I guess my only defense is that Kong was still considered the more fan favorite, and so therefore, and if you, this doesn't sound important, but like, in a way, he got top billing over Godzilla. This isn't Godzilla versus King Kong.
This is King Kong versus Godzilla. It's fucking strange.
Exactly.
So that's the myth has been busted multiple times.
Yeah, it started in the early 90s when people were starting to find or be able to see the Japanese version.
I had a
So
bootleg.
the big difference that really kind of messes with people is at the end of the American version, you hear there's a little American made scene where the reporter is like, "Oh, there goes King Kong. We wish him well on his journey back to the South Seas." And you hear Kong roar, and that's the end of the film.
As where this one, you see King Kong swim away back to the South Seas.
And you hear both of them roar.
Yeah.
And that is very much just the actors of the film taking a bow. This is Godzilla saying thank you. This is King Kong saying thank you.
Yes.
The end.
But I mean,
There wasn't any connotations other than that to the roars meaning something.
But you don't think an audience would read into that? Because I would read into that now as, all right,
No.
Godzilla's still around. Godzilla
I think
didn't die.
in terms of the Japanese cinema, it was just kind of customary. The fact that Godzilla hasn't come up leaves it a mystery of did he survive or not. Personally, I feel that it will be it helps lead into my favorite Godzilla entrance, which will take place in the next movie, Mothra versus Godzilla.
Word.
Certainly, I enjoy it for my own giddy reasons. I like to think in my personal feelings that the next movie is just basically Godzilla really hungover as shit, trying to just make his way back home. It's great.
And he's got to deal with some assholes.
He's got to deal with some shit. Yeah, but. Yeah, no, there's all of this. Oh, well, King Kong won in the American version, Godzilla. No, he won in any version.
Well, maybe that does make sense then, because Godzilla, for the most part of this movie, kicks the shit out of King Kong.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, there are parts where King Kong is visibly running away, just unsure
and
of how to even
visibly
try to
knocked
attack.
out.
Yeah. So
I love that part. Best part of the movie.
I mean, how in the hell does Toho have the balls to come out however many years ago and say, nah, yeah, King Kong won?
Because he was the bigger draw.
I get it, but
if you have Hulk Hogan fighting like a B-list wrestler, who's gonna win?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like my contrarian perspective here, but like if I was Toho, I would have made Godzilla win, especially because King Kong is such a huge cultural icon, not only in America but across the GD world.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to get people talking about your movie.
He's the biggest. So it was natural for Toho to say, okay, he's the bigger draw. He's gonna get the win,
even though he got the shit kicked out of him en route to the win.
Yeah.
Interesting way to try to attack that or deal with that. Two titans of the screen.
I guess in terms of viability. It allowed for the character Godzilla to become extremely popular enough to emit a sequel less than a year later. That's a victory to me, because Godzilla is now becoming a popular and sellable product that will launch a series.
And merchandising galore.
Yeah.
And cartoons and lunchboxes and comic books.
Yeah.
Crazy shit like that.
And offshoots like Ultra Q, Ultraman, King Kong Escapes, Frankenstein versus Baragon, Dagora.
We got a lot of movies to watch. That's your point.
We do.
We're skipping some of them.
Yeah, but once this podcast catches hot fire, we're going to have to go back and look for some extra material to go back and comment on.
We haven't even gotten into the Dai series yet.
Hey, I'm aware. Just looking down the road.
I mean, once we get through the Godzilla films, we can go into Gamera. We can go into...
Gamera!
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
Which, if you guys want campy, those movies never got serious.
No?
Oh,
what?
God.
You don't like a big, giant, spinning turtle?
Let's put it this way. By the end of the Gamera series, the film budget is so poor that they basically use stock footage from all of the movies to compile enough film so that at the end he fights a Star Destroyer.
You call it small budget. I call it fiscal responsibility.
Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer.
Suitcases.
I don't get the reference.
I don't either.
Well, this is definitely a little bit of a departure from the first two movies that we watched in this series. If you're listening to this podcast, we appreciate you taking the time. If you got into the end here, I think you're pretty much obligated to subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, hell, probably YouTube even. We'll get that information out. You do have the Instagram page up currently, right?
Yep.
You know what that handle is off the top of your head?
I believe it's Pojira.
Pojira! Did I sound like Godzilla just now? I feel like I did a little.
No, you sounded like the little kid who almost gets eaten by an octopus.
All right.
Ew.
I'll take that.
Disgusting.
I'll take that.
Ew.
As long as I'm not the dude painted really dark that looked like an early 1960s version of Luffy from One Piece. Because that guy, whew, what a rough look he was fucking rocking this movie.
what he gets for handing out cigarettes to kids.
I guess, man. Seriously, the first
Transistor
15
radios.
minutes the Japanese are there. They're like, here's a radio, and here's all of our cigarettes. We brought like 50 packs of cigarettes. So
But my
everybody
favorite
gets
part
one.
is the dude goes, "Hey, don't tell your mom about this."
They give the kid 2
And then the mom
cigarettes.
takes one.
mom takes one.
Mama sounds like, "Yo."
Thank you.
Give me that.
Even though I've never seen like a person outside of this island, I know how to smoke a cig.
Who doesn't? They just showed him a minute ago. They were like, see? Boom. No, every one of you is a smoker. 15 minutes they corrupted that island. 15 GD minutes.
It's true.
Well, now not only that, but they took away their god.
That's
They
true,
gotta
too.
swim back.
And used them for an advertising campaign. If anything,
Mr. Taco, he was smart.
if anything, I feel like the Japanese become the villains in this movie.
Ooh.
Fucking putting shit on its head.
Wow.
Not really, though. I mean, I guess, if you want to look at it very literally like that. Either way, my point is this movie tonight is a much different kind of watch, you know, aside from the fact that it's in color, obviously, but just the choreography's taken to a new level. The general appeal to a more broad audience is super evident. It's a little bit more kid-friendly. It's a lot more entertaining. And
Special effects are starting to get more unique.
shit, man, I thought this movie was fun. Like,
Yeah.
I the first one's I feel like it's always going to be the best movie.
Yeah.
Because it's the beginning, it's what it was birthed from. But this one was really, really fun. And I'm looking forward to watching some more of these, you know, the next few episodes that we've got coming up, and then the next few episodes that we've got coming up for you guys in the following months. The movies are just going to get a little bit more campy, a little bit more corny, and me and Shannon will have some more ridiculous shit to laugh at while Brandon tries to teach us a master's course. Godzilla in the house.
Hi.
Hey. Well, thank you for listening. Please, again, subscribe, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate, if you could, on the Apple Podcast. Rate and review on the iTunes store if possible. We appreciate you. Gojira! Released by Distributors Corporation of America.